Ah, there I am. Yes, eventually. Eventually. Uh, camera's a bit loose this morning. Never mind. We'll just have to put up with this. Why not? Why not? Or why, rather? Why put up with it when we don't have to? When it's inconvenient. Oh, there you go. There you go. There's I'm trying to do. What the hell? Makes it look as if I'm pretty, but I'm not at all. Let's get cracking. This is Mirador Television. I'm Keith Hayes. It's after 8 o'clock now. Yes, a couple of minutes after. And this is the morning after the elections in most parts of the country and not this one. But there we go. Some are privileged and some aren't. But the main news headline is that in the by-election for a Member of Parliament, the Reform Party beat out Labour by 4 votes or 5 votes, and that after a recount. So as close as anything I've ever witnessed in recent years. There have been some close votes, all right, but this one is fingernail. And good for reform. Is there are a lot of skeptics, and of course we are all skeptical. But you know, the fact of the matter is that seasoned journalists like myself are skeptical about everybody. How many of the new intake have actually hit the dust in the 150 days that they've been in power? So far there hasn't been a cabinet shake-up, but wait until there is. And suddenly we'll see bodies sprawling in the dust because they've hardly handled themselves with aplomb and with competence. We have seen a display of naivete that has astounded the world. But there they sit. They were elected and will be there for another 3.5 years. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, we've got strange things about our electoral system. Right, it is another gorgeous day out there. Let's have a look at the weather prospects. 21 degrees today. Yes, that's not bad. That's not bad. If we convert it to the old currency, that's 42, 40, 50, 60, 70. That's about 78. Wow! I don't think it can be quite that warm, but it must be getting on for 75. And it's just a gentle breeze, just a gentle breeze. In fact, looking out of my window, I can see the trees and they're not moving one little bit. That's how gentle the breeze is. So it's going to be another scorcher, another great day out there, and be careful about sunburn. Yeah, whatever you do, be careful about sunburn. So, sunny and a gentle breeze, 21 degrees, not a sign of rain. Enjoy it while it lasts. Tomorrow is going to be the same, but it'll be cooler first thing in the morning. And Sunday, we go to tumble. It goes down to 14 degrees, and it stays there for 2 or 3 days until let's see, the 17th, when it starts to climb again at 16, 17, 18. By Saturday, the 10th, is going to be 18 degrees, 19 is the most that it's going to reach, but that's not bad. 19 is it's in the 70s, and all this time we've got lovely, lovely weather in terms of the having sun. Not much rain at all. We've got some cloud at the beginning of starting this weekend, but that's all it is. It's cloud. There's no rain associated with it. I don't think. No, not at all. 0% chance of rain. So there we go. Rather a nice view. There I am again, and in all my glory, ready to hammer at the day. What we've got at 10 o'clock this morning is our jamboree, where anything goes and nothing is ever taken for granted. Nobody knows what's going to be talked about. It is stream of consciousness. So if you want to know, tune in. Tune in at 10 o'clock to Philip Meredith, Rosie Hayes, and Melissa Conte from New York. It just full of the joys of spring, and certainly with plenty of comment, I'm sure, about the present elections. Let's go to the newspaper headlines. Remember that the news headlines and the front pages will be very different today, because the front pages are put to bed about 3 o'clock in the morning, and the election count didn't start until daybreak, breakfast. Already there are one or two results. One or two results. We might be able to see something. We might. I must say that the electronic equipment seems to me to be getting worse. Each time you turn around, it gets worse. And let's see what this thing says. Latest election news. Before we go to the news headlines to find out the guts of what's happening in the world. Starmer suffers defeat in the first by-election as the Prime Minister, as Reform takes the seat. Reform wins a dramatic Runcorn by-election by just 6 votes. Oh, and that was after a recount. Well, that puts them up to 5. And it's not likely to change much before the next election, which shouldn't be held until 1990. Let's see. That is the headline in just about every paper, mainline, I suppose online. Local elections 2025 live. Reform wins Runcorn by-election by just 6 votes. And Nigel Farage's Reform UK wins Runcorn by-election by just 6 votes. Metro keep track of the UK local election results in each area without our map, or with our map. What happened in local elections overnight, and what's still to come? Well, what did happen overnight? Not a great deal, I suspect. Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch brace for a Reform win. The Reform wins sets a new record for smallest by-election majority. Ooh, I say. Well, Australians are going to the polls too in a pivotal federal election. Well, that's it. Let's take a look at the front pages of the newspaper. And as I say, was put together before the count had really started in Parliament. The results that are in puts Reform in the lead with about 15 seats. The Conservatives, I think, 8, Labour 7. So it's not indicative at all at the moment. We'll have to come back to that. And we will, before the end of the programme, we'll come back and see where the parties stand. Right, okay. Let's take a look. Weight loss jabs at the chemist and hottest May. The Daily Telegraph. Chemists to give out weight loss injections. Chemists to give out weight loss injections, writes the Daily Telegraph, as health officials are poised to announce a trial that will widen access to the jabs. 1 in 10 overweight people are eligible for the treatment on the NHS, while more than 500,000 people pay for private prescriptions. The Telegraph reports that Labour frontbenchers Ed Miliband are uniting to save net zero, reportedly with a plan to ban gas boilers in newly built homes. Dear, dear, dear. He doesn't know when to give up, does he? The Daily Mail. Little John is headlined in the Daily Mail. Ed Miliband belongs in a padded cell. But this net zero nut job has got the British people in a straitjacket. Little John. NHS fat jabs at the pharmacy. Patients to get weight loss drugs on prescription from chemists without seeing a doctor in a plan to tackle obesity. The Daily Mail's front page also touts NHS fat jabs at the pharmacy, announcing the plans for over-the-counter availability of injections, including Ozempic. The paper reports that the jab would cost £9.90, the same price as an NHS prescription. Well, I'll be damned. Financial Times. Trump ditches Waltz after MAGA wrath builds against National Security Advisor. Well, I would hate to get on the wrong side of him. He wouldn't know what he would do. Trump ditches Waltz, reads the headline at the lead in the Financial Times. Reporting on the National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, being ousted after he added a journalist to a White House chat on testing platform originals, on texting platform Signal. The exit has echoes of Trump's first term, when 4 people consecutively filled the post. Also in the United States, the paper reports on McDonald's sales falling as tariff wars or tariff-wary America flip to home-cooked burgers. Oh, so busy in the kitchen. Right, the Metro. 28 degrees centigrade record as eye passengers stuck. Hottest May of the year. Passengers on the London Eye got stuck during the hottest May of the year, reports Metro. Amid safety warnings, the temperature hit 28 degrees in parts of the UK on Thursday, and there's higher to come. Inside the paper, the Kooks, Luke Pritchard, talks festival nights. Huh, don't know what that's about. The Eye paper. UK care worker visa crackdown as Labour tries to stop vanishing migration scam. Now that's interesting from my point of view about the care workers. I've got a Filipino who is just excellent, and I've just picked up another Brit to supplement my care, which is needed. And before anybody squeals, I pay for it all myself. It's the NHS and adult social care in the care of the local council is so incompetent that it's just not worth getting involved. It really is not worth getting involved. I've ended up being sued for having people in my home that I didn't know were there. At least I knew they were there, but I didn't know who they were. And that's the only thing. That the bean counters, they are despicable, the bean counters at County Hall. Frankly, if I was one of them, I would hide my face when I went out. You know, they live in a cocoon and don't realize what they're doing is affect the temperament, the stability, the happiness of the people that they're dealing with. They are crazy. I'd fire the lot of them. I'd sack them. Because you can't sack them anymore, and that's the trouble. That's because that's to protect the incompetency of most of the workers there. Oh, they're very nice. I talked to some of them in the coffee shop. I like them. Doesn't mean to say that they're any good at their job. It just is. It's a national scandal. It won't become a scandal because, as we know from the district council, if people want to hide things that they're doing, they can. District council very, very carefully hid moving to Eastbourne, and once there, hid that they got rid of all their senior people, and that now they've got a bunch of amateurs running around. I don't know what they're doing. And they certainly don't know what they're doing about Lewis, because they're based in Eastbourne. You talk to somebody on the phone. Yes, there's a pothole right outside the courthouse. Where's the courthouse? They can't even do the job properly with the limited vision that they've got. It is a national scandal, absolute scandal. And it is time that somebody took them by the scruff of the neck. We've been trying to. We're just not big enough and powerful enough at the moment. But watch out, chaps, because we're coming up on the outside. We really are. You've tried hard to ignore us. You think that a war of attrition might well work in your favor. Think again. Journalists are notorious once they've got their teeth into something of keeping their teeth in it. And we're keeping our teeth in. This is absolutely outrageous what goes on here. Anyway, right, back to the iPaper. UK care worker visa crackdown. The Home Secretary Yvette Cooper planning to cut net immigration by tackling the abuse of workers entering the UK only to be exploited. Well, now I've got to have a look. I've really got to look into this because carers are something that is right on my radar. If there is a scandal concerning carers, I can well believe it. I can well believe it because a lot of them just they can't even boil a cup of water, let alone look after elderly and sick. The abuse of workers, yeah, it's not their fault. They're not qualified and they give them the job. But Guess where it all comes back to, right? The county councils and the district councils. That's where it comes back to, and we don't say boo to them. Oh no, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full, sir. It's just the same as a police commissioner. Nothing from them until election time. What do they do? Well, I asked the policeman, and he doesn't know. There's a bunch of wasted money and wasted effort. I like the idea of a police commissioner, but a proper police commissioner. Not just a sop to political animals because they lose their jobs or they lose their seats. It's absolutely outrageous. The whole thing is outrageous. And we'll never, ever get reform because there are too many fat cats enjoying what they've got. And to hell with the rest of us. The hottest May day also features on the front page of the Metro with advice on why your cat should be wearing sunscreen. Sunscreen is the paste, I think, that you put on to make sure that you don't get totally sunburned. Aha, right. How soon we forget the bad days, don't we? They'll be back, don't worry. The Times. Trump axes aide who invited journalists to airstrike group chat. Banks forecast the fastest fall in interest rates since 2009, headlines The Times. The expected cut will offer mortgage holders relief from years of high borrowing costs against a backdrop of a growing global economic uncertainty. The Times also reports that Harrods has become the latest retailer to be hit in a spree of cyber attacks on UK shops after Marks and Spencer's was hit and the Co-op Group earlier this week. Why do they do it, do you think? Competitors? New boys on the block? Just somebody who thinks it's funny? Daily Express. Our heroes can honor fallen friends. Following a relentless Daily Express campaign, the paper announces that VE Day veterans will travel to the Netherlands while Britain will pick up the tab. Their commemorative trips were in peril after a funding promise was snatched away. But now our heroes can honor their fellow friends. As Princess Charlotte turns 10, the Express says the preteen has inner strength, just like our beloved late Queen. The Guardian revealed British banks put £75 billion into firms behind carbon bombs. The Guardian reports British banks have investments of £75 billion in oil, gas, and coal projects that will have a negative environmental impact. In response, some of the banks highlighted their efforts to hit green targets. Also on the front page, the paper has the headline, "No signs of end to data blockade," and "Food is running out," reporting on the story of one mother struggling to feed her children. That is in Gaza, of course. Don't think that's happening in Silverstone. The Mirror. It could have been any of us. Talking about Virginia Giuffre and her untimely death. Following the death of Virginia Griefer, the Daily Mirror has an interview with Joanna Schoenberg, who has also made accusations against Prince Andrew, who has denied the claims. Who would believe who? They're all as bad as one another. The Sun. They think it's all ovaries. It says the Sun. It is now. Trans ban in women's footy. Biological female players only. The Sun reports the ban on transgender women from competing in women's sports, saying the FA sees sense at last. Its headlines reads, "They think it's all ovaries. It is now." The paper also announces there will be a 2-minute silence for the VE Day anniversary. The Star. Here's a smile, Star. Bigfoot meets Big Mouth. The Beast of Balmoral. Bigfoot meets Big Mouth, reads the front page of the Daily Star, reporting that Prince Philip had met the elusive creature while he was still alive. The paper also touts the hot weather in the UK, with some swimmers off for a dip in a top picture slot. The Beast of Balmoral is. I'm not quite sure what they were looking for. The Beast of Balmoral. It doesn't tell us. Probably a panther, because that's the one that's most frequently seen. Yeah, well, those are the basic headlines. It's normally it doesn't matter that they are so old, because 5 hours old, 6 hours old, because things don't move on that fast, particularly with time zones. But today they do, in as much as there's an election that is being counted, and let's see if we can. I think we better get the latest. Huh? Yes, I think so. Let's tap in. Ask me anything. Latest news. Reform beats Labour by 6 votes in the Roncon vote as a party gains first mayor. They're not saying it's much more than that. So I think we need to delve a little bit deeper. I really find the hype about these things. You just they don't do half the things that they're supposed to. Let's get the latest election news, because it's one of those things that is going to mean an awful lot to us. About UK election results. Nigel Farage's Reform wins Runcorn, right? We know that. Oh gosh, the Reform candidate, the number of councillors as the count goes up. Reform have got 79. Conservatives have got 37. Labour have got 11. Independents 7. The Lib Dems 5. And the Green 2. Wow. So Reform wins Runcorn and Holsby. Sarah Pochin overturned Labour's large majority to become Reform's 5th MP after a recount. Elsewhere, Reform won its first mayoralty election in Greater Lincolnshire, and Labour narrowly holds 3 mayoral races in North Tyneside, the west of England, and Doncaster, with Reform second in all 3. This is still an emerging picture with plenty more results to come. But the morning story is Reform UK and its taking of Runcorn. Votes are being counted in more than 1,600 council seats in England. Widespread results aren't expected until later. See the latest in our banner at the top of the page. Oh, yes. Right, Reform on the march in Lincolnshire. Reform is on the march in Lincolnshire, riding on the coattails of Andrea Jenkins' resounding success in the mayoral election. 3 out of 7 districts have declared so far, and results are now coming in from East Lindsey, where the turquoise wave shows no signs of abating. At the moment, Reform has 23 seats, while the Conservatives, who started the night with 53 seats, are down to just 1 councillor. The Conservatives are expected to regain some ground, but things are looking good for Reform. So the predictions are coming true. So there we are. As we watch throughout the day, it's going to be a fascinating unfolding. Right. It's now. It's 20 to 9. Let me give you a couple of they're not notices as much as my colleagues came around this past week to the Black Horse, to our studio, and they had been to a meeting. They are doing a number of good things. One, there's a motivational drop-in group for those with type 2 diabetes. It's at the Quaker Meeting House, which is on Friars Walk. It's a lovely building, actually. Never been in it, but it's a lovely building, the Quaker Meeting House. And when? On Mondays at 10:30 to 11:45 a.m. What do you do there? Well, if you have questions about diabetes, you can ask them. It's an informal chat and a cup of tea or coffee. Oh, they say, no cakes or biscuits, I'm sorry. All that, I guess, contributes towards diabetes. We can't have that. No. Now, there is a challenge for the housewife. Let us develop a cake that is not going to be harmful to diabetics and that you can have with your coffee at meetings like this, because it isn't quite the same having coffee without a bun. It really isn't. What's the aim of the group? Is to help diabetics take control of your blood glucose and reverse your diagnosis. They discuss nutrition, exercise, medication, blood tests, and anything else that's associated with treating diabetics. And they occasionally have guest speakers. So that is the Quaker Meeting House, Friars Walk in Lewes, Mondays at 10:30 to 11:45. Now, of course, the question is, this Monday is a holiday. Does that mean that the meeting is cancelled? They don't tell us. I would imagine that it is. St Anne's historic Flint Wall appeal. an informal fundraising launch event at St. Anne's Church, Lewes. Friday, the 9th of May. Let's see, that's next Friday. That's a week today. Philip Griffiths, who is a Guinness World Record holder in what it doesn't say. This is my story, this is my song. From a mid-Wales farm to London's West End and the bits in between. Music that inspired and performed. Entrance is free. All donations to the appeal include a CD of Philip. There will be an interval when refreshments will be available, and there'll be a question and answer at the end of the evening. It's Friday, the 9th of May at 7 p.m. And it's Philip Griffiths, and on behalf of St. Anne's Historic Flint Wall Appeal. Make a note of that, chaps. St. Anne's Historic Flint Wall Appeal. I'll remind you again about that before long, and certainly leading up to the event next week. And some very nice people, Graham and Penny, who are looking after it, and a good job they're doing too. Right you are, we are now up to 20 to 9, and it is a time for me to do a rant. It is time for me to do a rant. And there are a number of things that that I noticed as I went through the paper. And I'll just take another look through. Ed Miliband certainly is taking a bit of a pasting. Stephen Glover, who is a fairly sane, serious guy, is calling Miliband the most dangerous man in Britain. His quest leading towards net zero is deeply upsetting to many people. But now here's one that I find real. Warning: 300,000 could lose heating and meter switch off. Now this is absolutely outrageous. That for years and years and years we go along without meters. Then the cartels opened up, and they've decided everybody should have a meter. Makes it easier for them, you see. Not only that, the meters are very inaccurate, and we all get charged far too much for our gas and electricity. I don't buy gas, I don't buy electricity. God, that's expensive enough. Mind you, I suppose, because I cook with it and so on and so forth, my electricity bill is higher without a gas bill. But we don't know. We don't know. And many people report being bullied into taking a meter. Why? Mirador television is dedicated to freedom of speech and action, responsible freedom of speech and action, but nonetheless free, not hindered by bureaucracy. Why is it that we are hindered by bureaucracy when it comes to electricity and gas? Have they got some sort of magic and dispensation that others haven't got? Because if you take away the meter and you lose heating, then I personally suggest that there is a suit launched against premature death if an older person dies as a result of heat loss. We'll get a view from Richard Barton on this. We'll get a view from him about whether, in fact, somebody could sue. Because this seems to me to be very high-handed action. And it is easy to be high-handed if you think that you've got huge power on your side. But I am a great supporter of Jenkins' Ear War. Very briefly, Jenkins' Ear War was when the British government went to war on behalf of a ship's captain who had had his ear cut off in a skirmish with the Dutch. And it is held out as the time that Britain actually didn't act in behalf of the state as much as it acted on behalf of as an individual. If you delve a little bit, it's not true, but still, it is a nice theory and a nice romantic tale. A ship's captain who lost an ear has the entire British government go to war for him. Ho hum, ho hum. But anyway, the point really is that giants need to be careful, because if they don't tread sensitively, their entire empire can be brought crashing down. And then we see, oh dear, we didn't realize, oh yeah, and it's going to cost millions and so on and so forth. Don't do it in the first place until you're sure. As if they'll listen to me. But still, at least warnings have been issued. So the meter, don't let them bully you into doing away with the meter, or not doing away with the meter, as the case may be. It should be done in a nice, friendly and cooperative way, and the benefits pointed out. That's the trouble, you see. The benefits are always printed in the fine print, not in the headline stuff. It's the headline stuff that catches the eye. So, if you're threatened with having your meter switched off, then give us a call. There's no reason why we can't be the spearhead for you focusing your ire on, in my particular case, octopus. So long as some octopus were really very good, then they dropped off the pace. Let's see if they're any good anymore in their comeback. Well, there is no question that Ed Miliband is being called to step down. But his track record is such that he will dig in. And how much will that cost as a problem? The Miliband's, the brothers, were very controversial when in office, when in government. Now they're even more so. But who gave them this silly role? I'm not suggesting for one moment that somebody shouldn't be given it, and a careful look taken about how much we can do and how much we can't. But a fanatic and obsessive, most certainly not. Fanatics and obsessives should not be given anything, because they often cannot see the wood for the trees. It is time for us to bring a measure of sensibility, of common sense to the role. If Miliband paused for a moment and started to assess what's going on, undoubtedly he would not follow the present course in trying to force everybody to go green the way that he is. And the resentment would drop, and he would suddenly find he'd got a whole bunch of friends who would listen to an argument about the killing of crops, killing of woods, of flora and fauna. We would listen. And it's not right and it's not proper that as often politicians do. They voted me in, so now they'll do as I tell. And that's exactly what Miliband is doing. Even when evidence is produced into the negative side of the debate, as far as he's concerned, there is absolutely no movement. I am right, and that is it. And that does not inspire confidence in a politician. It's sad. It's sad. Ah, well. It's one of those things that we have to put up with. One of those things that we have to put up with. Okay, what we're going to do now is, since it's 10 to 9, what will happen in this slot in the future is next week. I think perhaps I can show you again. Can we? Yes, we can. Let me show you this, because this is the work that John Prideaux, our AI specialist, has done for us. Little bits here and little bits there as we've experimented with things. So that's what they are. They're bits of experiment. But they give you some idea of the impressive nature of his work. And then I'll tell you about Friday mornings.
In the lead, we have Harry's Lament, looking as blue as the sky overhead. Right behind him is the Purple Hat, looking fancy as ever with a splendid purple hat and matching horseshoes.
Now, those are little tidbits from John Priro, and he will be joining us every other Friday morning, and it's chatting to us about various things. But also, he is working hard on, and we're not pushing him for any speed, but that last clip of the races is there are two things which John can do. One is he could set up a race card for us, and he can make it so that it's random as to which horse wins. So it makes it exciting to have a little flutter on. Now, the flutter is the thing that we want to make sure that we get right, because we don't want to break any broadcasting laws. There are very few for online television, but that would be one of them, is encouraging gambling, if we don't want to encourage gambling. So it may be that we're going to have to find a unique way of betting on these horses. But we can have a short race meeting once every other week, and have a little bit of fun doing it. Secondly, he can, with more work, and we have to be careful how we push him, is replicate famous races of the past. And the one that we're looking at is the last race at Lewes Racecourse in 1964, the very last time that a competitive race was held on the track on the downs above the town. There are still parts of the course left, but we will replicate them and re-rent the race, and that in itself would be enough, I think, to titillate a number of people, many of whom regretted that the race course was ever closed down. There we are. It's sad, but it was, and I doubt if there's much that can be done about it. I just hope that it isn't sold off to interests, so that we've got ugly buildings up there, or beautiful buildings for that matter. The downs are precious, and to be let into the wrong hands is wrong. Okay, now on alternate weeks, hopefully we'll be having some cooking lessons and finding out what should be eaten with what and whom and a whole host of other things. That takes some preparation, and we're in preparation right now. So it is now 5 to 9. We're going to take a little a trip away, and then we will be back in 5 or 10 minutes, leading up to 10 o'clock and Jamboree with sort of Meredith. So let's just say toodle pip for a moment, and we'll come back in 5 or 10 minutes.